Kaz in St Albans. Hello, Kaz.
Sheena, hi there. You right?
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, America's done. It's we're watching the destruction of a superpower in real time. We need to grow a pair, speak to the Iranians, pay the fees, and start getting our oil and getting on with life in the UK.
You mean to use the Strait of Hormuz?
Yes.
And do you say that particularly in light of what Donald Trump said yesterday about the Strait of Hormuz? Go and get your own oil?
He's a compulsive liar that's been bankrupt 5 times, and he's now in the process of bankrupting America. Although, if you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, I wonder why they took over Venezuela. Maybe it was for the oil so that it wouldn't affect their economy. But it's certainly affecting ours. And as far as the relationship between America and the UK is concerned, I think it's bigger than Trump. And once he's out of office, when a sensible person comes back in, I think we'll be all right.
Well, that's my hope. I'm sure it's your hope as well. And when you say do a deal with Iran, what do you mean specifically? Just on access to Hormuz? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, they've said any country that doesn't support the aggression towards them is free to purchase oil and crack on. Pakistan seems to be getting their oil. China seems to be getting their oil.
Yeah, but there have been mixed messages there because the Iranian ambassador to the UK in the early part of the war, I mean, we're only a month in, but in the early weeks, said to Andrew Marr on LBC, Iran does not consider itself to be at war with Britain. But a week or so later, the foreign minister or foreign spokesperson at the time said, we are as bad as America. Because we're allowing our bases to be used. We're at war with Britain too. So it's hard to read that.
Yeah. And then Starmer said they wouldn't allow them to use the bases. So
no, but they're not.
That's negotiation, isn't it?
No, but they are using the bases for defensive missions.
Yeah, defence is one thing, attacking is another, right?
It is, but it looks as though the Iranian regime currently isn't seeing a distinction.
Sorry, why do you keep referring to them as a regime?
Because they are.
I never hear you call the Israeli regime or the American regime.
You really want to have this row now, do you, Kaz, when we're talking about the UK economy?
I'm just genuinely asking you why you keep referring to them as a regime.
Well, one can be removed with votes. The other is tyrannising its own people, murdering 30,000 of them in January and February, abusing women every day in their own population. So I would describe that as a regime in the way that I would have described, Pinochet as a member of a junta.
Yeah, okay, I agree with that. But would you refer to the Israelis as a regime after what they did in Gaza?
No.
It's a bit different there.
No, I'm not talking about what they've done in Gaza. I'm talking about what their country...
we're not talking about what Pinochet did either.
I'm talking about what... No, we are. I'm talking about what their... No, listen to me, Kaz. I'm talking about what their country is like.
Yeah, Israel is a regime as well. Would you agree with that?
I wouldn't agree with that, no. For the reasons because you're not listening to me. I've told you why. A regime, to my mind, maybe you tell me if I've got the wrong definition. To my mind, a regime or a junta, as we used to call some of the worst excesses of Latin American regimes, it's about...
Sorry, as you said, we're not talking about Israel.
Oh my goodness me, what is it with some of the men this week on this programme? Kaz, please listen to me, and I promise I'll stop and listen back to you.
Uh-huh.
I am describing them that way because of how they operate internally as a government to their own people, right? That's why I don't call Israel's government a regime or a junta, but it's why I do call the Iranian regime a regime. Mm-hmm. It's why I would call the worst excesses of Argentine right-wing extreme governments a junta, for example. That's my point. Do you want to talk about what governments do in other countries? Let's do it, fine. But that's not why I call them a government or a regime.
Would you call what ICE is doing under Trump in America a regime then?
Who is doing?
ICE in America. Would you class that as a regime?
No, not necessarily, because it's not pervasive, is it, in the way that it is? But by the way, I don't approve of their policies. I don't approve of their approach.
But it's not no, that's fine. I was just wondering why, there's this constant regime across all media.
Would you feel better if I just called it a government? Because I think it's probably a bit like dancing on the head of a pin.
Yeah, I would.
All right. Well, if you ring again, I will, Kaz, if it makes you feel better. Thank you. Kaz in St Albans. It's 1:31. Let's get the headlines from Amelia Cox. The Prime Minister